Djibouti. Djibouti, officially the Republic of Djibouti, is a country located in the Horn of Africa in East Africa. It is bordered by Somalia in the south, Ethiopia in the south and west, Eritrea in the north, and the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden in the east. Across the Gulf of Aden lies Yemen. This does not share a land border with Djibouti. The country has a total area of 23,200 square kilometers, 8,958 square miles. The Republic of Djibouti is predominantly inhabited by two ethnic groups, the Somali and the Afar people, with the former comprising the majority of the population. In antiquity, the territory together with Somalia was part of the land of Punt. Nearby Zila, now in Somalia, was the seat of the medieval Adal and Ifat sultanates. In the late 19th century, the colony of French Somaliland was established following treaties signed by the ruling Somali and Afar sultans with the French, and its railroad to Dire Dawa and later Addis Ababa allowed it to quickly supersede Zila as the port for southern Ethiopia and the Ogaden. It was subsequently renamed to the French territory of the Afars and the Isas in 1967. A decade later, the Djiboutian people voted for independence. This officially marked the establishment of the Republic of Djibouti, named after its capital city. The sovereign state joined the United Nations the same year, on 20 September 1977. In the early 1990s, tensions over government representation led to armed conflict, which ended in a power-sharing agreement in 2000 between the ruling party and the opposition. Djibouti is a multi-ethnic nation with a population of over 921,804 inhabitants, the smallest in mainland Africa. French and Arabic are the country's two official languages. About 94% of residents adhere to Islam, which is the official religion and has been predominant in the region for more than 1,000 years. The Somali, Isa clan, and Afar make up the two largest ethnic groups. Both speak the Cushitic branch of the Afroasiatic languages. Djibouti is strategically located near some of the world's busiest shipping lanes, controlling access to the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. It serves as a key refueling and transshipment center and is the principal maritime port for imports from and exports to neighboring Ethiopia. A burgeoning commercial hub, the nation is the site of various foreign military bases, including Camp Lemonnier. The Intergovernmental Authority on Development (IGAD) regional body also has its headquarters in Djibouti City. Etymology of Djibouti. Djibouti is officially known as the Republic of Djibouti. In local languages, it is known as Djibouti in Afar, Djibouti in Arabic, and Djibouti in Somali. The country is named for its capital, the city of Djibouti. The etymology of the name is disputed. Several theories and legends exist regarding its origin, varying based on ethnicity. One theory derives it from the Afar word about, meaning plate, possibly referring to the geographical features of the area. Another connects it to Good, meaning upland plateau. Djibouti could also mean land of Tuhuti or land of Thoth, after the Egyptian moon god. History of Djibouti. The Bab el-Mandeb region has often been considered a primary crossing point for early hominins following a southern coastal route from East Africa to South and Southeast Asia. Djibouti area has been inhabited since the Neolithic. According to linguists, the first Afroasiatic-speaking populations arrived in the region during this period from the family's proposed Urheimat original homeland in the Nile Valley, or the Near East. Other scholars propose that the Afroasiatic family developed in situ in the Horn, with its speakers subsequently dispersing from there. The only one Oldowan site, near Lake Abbey, is currently known and dated to between 1.6 and 1.3 million years ago by ESR, with presumably butchered remains of Elephas reki aleratensis and hundreds of artifacts on lavas. In addition, a complete articulated skeleton of Elephas reki was found in clays of the comparatively younger Gobad Formation. Previous investigators have also reported a fragmentary maxilla, attributed to an older form of Homo sapiens and dated to approximately 250 Ka, from the valley of the Dagadle Wadi. The Kingdom of Adal, also Adal, Adl, or Adal, was centered around Zila, its capital. It was established by the local Somali tribes in the early 9th century. Zila attracted merchants from around the world, contributing to the wealth of the city. Zila is an ancient city and it was one of the earliest cities in the world to embrace Islam, shortly after the Hijra. Zila's two Mirab Masjid al-Qiblatain dates to the 7th century and is the oldest mosque. In the late 9th century, al-Yaqubi, an Armenian Muslim scholar and traveler, wrote that the kingdom of Adal was a small wealthy kingdom and that Zila served as the headquarters for the kingdom, which dated back to the beginning of the century. Politics of Djibouti. Djibouti is a unitary presidential republic, with executive power resting in the presidency, which is by turn dominant over the cabinet, and legislative power in both the government and the National Assembly. The president, currently Ismail Omar Guelleh, is the prominent figure in Djiboutian politics, the head of state and commander-in-chief. The president exercises their executive power assisted by their appointee, the prime minister, currently Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed. The Council of Ministers cabinet is responsible for and presided over by the president. The judicial system consists of courts of the first instance, a High Court of Appeal, and a Supreme Court. The legal system is a blend of French civil law and customary law of the Somali and Afar peoples. The National Assembly, formerly the Chamber of Deputies, is the country's legislature, consisting of 65 members elected every 5 years. Although unicameral, the constitution provides for the creation of a Senate. The last election was held on the 22nd of February 2013. Djibouti has a dominant party system, with the People's Rally for Progress (RPP) controlling the legislature and the executive since its foundation in 1979. The party currently rules as a part of the Union for a presidential majority, which currently holds a supermajority of seats. Opposition parties are allowed limited freedom, but the main opposition party, the Union for National Salvation, boycotted the 2005 and 2008 elections, citing government control of the media and repression of the opposition candidates. Military in Djibouti. The Djibouti Armed Forces include the Djibouti National Army, which consists of the Coastal Navy, the Djiboutian Air Force, Force Aérienne Djiboutienne (FAD), and the National Gendarmerie (GN). As of 2011, the manpower available for military service was 170,386 males and 221,411 females aged 16 to 49. Djibouti spent over $36 million dollars annually on its military as of 2011, 141st in the SIPRI database. After independence, Djibouti had 2 regiments commanded by French officers. In the early 2000s, it looked outward for a model of army organization that would best advance defensive capabilities by restructuring forces into smaller, more mobile units instead of traditional divisions. The first war which involved the Djiboutian armed forces was the Djiboutian Civil War between the Djiboutian government, supported by France, and the Front for the Restoration of Unity and Democracy (FRUD). The war lasted from 1991 to 2001, although most of the hostilities ended when the moderate factions of FRUD signed a peace treaty with the government after suffering an extensive military setback when the government forces captured most of the rebel-held territory.
A radical group continued to fight the government, but signed its own peace treaty in 2001.
The war ended in a government victory, and FRUD became a political party. As the headquarters of the IGAD regional body, Djibouti has been an active participant in the Somali peace process, hosting the Arta Conference in 2000. Following the establishment of the federal government of Somalia in 2012, a Djibouti delegation also attended the inauguration ceremony of Somalia's new president. In recent years, Djibouti has improved its training techniques, military command and information structures and has taken steps to become more self-reliant in supplying its military to collaborate with the United Nations in peacekeeping missions, or to provide military help to countries that officially ask for it. Now deployed to Somalia and Sudan. Geography of Djibouti. Djibouti is situated in the Horn of Africa on the Gulf of Aden and the Bab el-Mandeb, at the southern entrance to the Red Sea. It lies between latitudes 11 degrees and 14 degrees north and longitudes 41 degrees and 44 degrees east, at the northernmost point of the Great Rift Valley. It is here in Djibouti that the rift between the African plate and the Somali plate meets the Arabian plate, forming a geologic tripoint. The tectonic interaction at this tripoint has created the lowest elevation of any place in Africa, and indeed, the second lowest depression on dry land found anywhere on Earth, surpassed only by the depression along the border of Jordan and Israel. The country's coastline stretches 314 kilometers (195 miles), with terrain consisting mainly of the plateau, plains and highlands. Djibouti has a total area of 23,200 square kilometers (9,000 square miles). Its borders extend 575 kilometers (357 miles), 125 kilometers (78 miles), of which are shared with Eritrea, 390 kilometers (242 miles) with Ethiopia, and 60 kilometers (37 miles) with the disputed territory of Somaliland, which is claimed by Somalia. Djibouti is the southernmost country on the Arabian Plate. Djibouti has 8 mountain ranges with peaks of over 1,000 meters (3,300 feet). The Musa Ali Range is considered the country's highest mountain range, with the tallest peak on the border with Ethiopia and Eritrea. It has an elevation of 2,028 meters (6,654 feet). The Grand Bara Desert covers parts of southern Djibouti in the Arda, Ali Sabia, and Dakhil regions. The majority of it sits at a relatively low elevation, below 1,700 feet (520 meters). Climate in Djibouti. Djibouti's climate is significantly warmer and has significantly less seasonal variation than the world average. The mean daily maximum temperatures range from 32 to 41 degrees Celsius (90 to 106 degrees Fahrenheit), except at high elevations. In Djibouti City, for instance, average afternoon highs range from 28 to 34 degrees Celsius (82 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit) in April. But at Arolaf, which ranges from 1,535 to 1,600 meters (5,036 to 5,249 feet), the maximum temperature is 30 degrees Celsius (86 degrees Fahrenheit) in summer and minimum 9 degrees Celsius (48 degrees Fahrenheit) in winter. In the uplands ranges from 500 to 800 meters (1,640 to 2,624 feet) are comparable and cooler to those on the coast in the hottest months of June until August. December and January is the coolest month, with averages low temperatures falling as low as 15 degrees Celsius (59 degrees Fahrenheit). Djibouti has either a hot semi-arid climate (BSH) or a hot desert climate (BWH), although temperatures are much moderated at the highest elevations. Djibouti's climate ranges from arid in the northeastern coastal regions to semi-arid in the central, northern, western, and southern parts of the country. On the eastern seaboard, annual rainfall is less than 5 inches (131 millimeters). In the central highlands, precipitation is about 8 to 16 inches (200 to 400 millimeters). The hinterland is significantly less humid than the coastal regions. Education in Djibouti. Education is a priority for the government of Djibouti. As of 2009, it allocates 20.5% of its annual budget to scholastic instruction. The Djiboutian educational system was initially formulated to cater to a limited pupil base. As such, the schooling framework was largely elitist and drew considerably from the French colonial paradigm, which was ill-suited to local circumstances and needs. In the late 1990s, the Djiboutian authorities revised the national educational strategy and launched a broad-based consultative process involving administrative officials, teachers, parents, National Assembly members, and NGOs. The initiative identified areas in need of attention and produced concrete recommendations on how to go about improving them. The government subsequently prepared a comprehensive reform plan aimed at modernizing the educational sector over the 2000–10 period. In August 2000, it passed an official Education Planning Act and drafted a medium-term development plan for the next 5 years. The fundamental academic system was significantly restructured and made compulsory. It now consists of 5 years of primary school and 4 years of middle school. Secondary schools also require a certificate of fundamental education for admission. In addition, the new law introduced secondary-level vocational instruction and established university facilities in the country. As a result of the Education Planning Act and the Medium-Term Action Strategy, substantial progress has been registered throughout the educational sector. In particular, school enrollment, attendance, and retention rates have all steadily increased, with some regional variation. From 2004 to 2005 to 2007-08, net enrollments of girls in primary school rose by 18.6%. For boys, it increased 8.0%. Net enrollments in middle school over the same period rose by 72.4% for girls and 52.2% for boys. At the secondary level, the rate of increase in net enrollments was 49.8% for girls and 56.1% for boys. The Djiboutian government has especially focused on developing and improving institutional infrastructure and teaching materials, including constructing new classrooms and supplying textbooks. At the post-secondary level, the emphasis has also been placed on producing qualified instructors and encouraging out-of-school youngsters to pursue vocational training. As of 2012, the literacy rate in Djibouti was estimated at 70%. Sport in Djibouti. Football is the most popular sport amongst Djiboutians. The country became a member of FIFA in 1994 but has only taken part in the qualifying rounds for the African Cup of Nations as well as the FIFA World Cup in the mid-2000s. In November 2007, the Djibouti national football team beat Somalia's national squad 1-0 in the qualification rounds for the 2010 FIFA World Cup, marking its first ever World Cup-related win. Recently, the World Archery Federation has helped to implement the Djibouti Archery Federation, and an international archery training center is being created in Arda to support archery development in East Africa and the Red Sea area. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, click on like button. If you want to watch more videos like this, click on the subscription button below. It's free subscription.